To me, being authentic as a leader means being authentic to your true self. And so the challenge is there's a lot of expectation and masks that we put on. And I'm going to be this way when I'm at the office, and I'm going to be different when I'm at home. I'm not going to be friends with my team, and all the different things we were taught through the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And the reality is you've got to get clear about who you are as a human. What makes you tick? What do you love to do? Who are you at the core? And when you start showing up that way in true authenticity with your team, you create a space, you create an area, a platform for others to do the same, because they're also running someone else's narratives. Our belief systems come from parents, peers, previous experience, and we get in our head all of a sudden this thing that we're supposed to look like, be, do, or chase, and it's usually not what we truly want.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we're going to talk about being an authentic leader. What does that really mean, and what gets in the way of authenticity? Our special guest today is Kenny Chapman. He is the founder of the Blue Collar Success Group. They really focus on helping businesses that are in the trades, plumbers and electricians, really scale their businesses and create, the kind of life and freedom they want. Not just having a job, but really creating freedom. And he credits being authentic as a big part of that. Today, we look at what authenticity is to Kenny. We talk about the impact that it has on his team, how he encourages others to be authentic, and what gets in the way. We also look at some of the key things that he has done to embrace this. And you won't be surprised when I say core values, but he unpacks a little bit how he uses those inside of growing his business and aligning his team. My job is to help you be the best leader you can be, help you really take it to the next level. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I'd love to help you. The two things that we are most known for is one, CEO and founder coaching. That's what I've been doing for over a decade. If you're looking for a coach or just thinking about, what the insights would be and the wisdom of that experience, let's get to know each other. Just go to my website, Gene Hammett, and you can schedule a call right there. It's absolutely free. Hopefully, if you want to take it to the next level, you'll take that chance. And the second way we serve is by helping managers become leaders. We found that there's a lot of people out there that are craving and hungry for knowledge. Maybe they're trying to pick it up from books or videos, but it's not very effective and it doesn't translate into practical learning and application. And so we have a coaching program for managers to become leaders. We've worked with executive leaders inside this. It's a foundational element program, but everyone becomes aligned around the language of leadership, and that changes how they perform it. We have more confident leaders. We have people that are able to have difficult conversations, hold people accountable, all of the things inside of our program. If that's of interest to you, let's get to know each other. Just go to genehammett.com and schedule your call. Now, here's the interview with Kenny. Hey, Kenny, how are you?
Doing great, Gene. How about yourself, man?
I am fantastic. We're going to have a great interview. We're going to talk about being authentic, what that means in leadership and how it impacts your business. But you are this, the founder of the Blue Collar Success Group. What the heck is that?
We're a best practices group for the skilled trades, primarily plumbing, heating, air conditioning, electrical service businesses. So we really take the trades individuals are really good at the technical work they do. We peel that back and teach them the operations to run, market, and have a financially successful entity.
I was talking to my son this past week about college and whatnot, and it's very different from when I went to school, probably when you went to school. It was just natural for us to go into college. And I said, if you wanted to be an electrician or a plumber or something like that, I think you'd be, and run a business and maybe have, 6 crews, you could be very successful. And I bet you are seeing it firsthand. People are out there, young people, kids, leaning into this profession of the trades, are creating successful businesses. Tell me just a little bit about what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, there's a major shift that's taking place right now as we speak, to your point. What we've ended up with in the United States is a massive population of overeducated underachievers. And so from that, we have a lot of things that get to your point. Back when we would have gone to college, there you kind of needed that, and now you just need to be resourceful. You need to create value in the marketplace, and so now you can. And I'm not against higher education by any means, or put formal higher education. But what we see in the trades is you can go to a trade school that many times is sponsored by a progressive company, and you get out with no debt, and you're making six figures within a few years, and you're able to take care of your family. And then if you do have the entrepreneurial gene, you end up creating your own business and so on and so forth. So it used to be looked down on, and people like me, I went to one semester of college because I was good at baseball. So I had a baseball ride, and then I partied my way out of that in a very short period of time. But I didn't do good in school. So I was told I was a dumb kid. I was told that I wouldn't amount to anything. And what I learned now that I run an education business is it's not that I didn't know how to learn, they didn't know how to teach me. And that's where we've shifted the game in the trades and allowing people, it's not like it used to be where, oh, you suck at everything in life, go be in the trades. No, maybe you want to build an incredibly amount of wealth being in the trades. And it happens all the time.
Well, I'm glad the stigma is shifting. And I know one of the biggest challenges you probably have in your clients is access to workers. They can't grow their business because they don't have enough electricians and enough plumbers and all the other skilled trades that you work with. Kenny, we have come here not to talk about the blue collar success group, but to talk about your team, your leadership. Yes. And our team does a little bit of research on all the clients or prospects that come on here for interviews. And you seem to believe that being authentic is a central part to you guys being successful. What does being authentic as a leader mean?
So to me, being authentic as a leader means being authentic to your true self. And so the challenge is there's a lot of expectation and masks that we put on. And I'm going to be this way when I'm at the office, and I'm going to be different when I'm at home. I'm not going to be friends with my team, and all the different things we were taught through the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And the reality is you've got to get clear about who you are as a human. What makes you tick? What do you love to do? Who are you at the core? And when you start showing up that way in true authenticity with your team, you create a space, you create an area, a platform for others to do the same, because they're also running someone else's narratives. Our belief systems come from parents, peers, previous experience, and we get in our head all of a sudden this thing that we're supposed to look like, be, do, or chase. And it's usually not what we truly want. So as a leader, when you do that hard work, I heard recently the longest journey of your life is the journey from your head to your heart. And once you make that journey and decide this is who I am and how I show up, people love it. People want to be led. They want to be around it, but they also know their BS meters are alive and well. And there's a lot of it out there.
Very well said. Let's talk about some of the things that you see as benefits to being authentic.
I think number one is it's kind of like the old thing of when people talk about lying, right? It's like, well, I don't have to remember what I lied about or who I told the little white lie. When you're authentic, the pressure comes off. There's no presupposition. What I speak is my truth. Now, if something changes for me or I tell my team something and then it shifts over the time, that's fine, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and there's an evolution play. Our business are evolving. Therefore, we must evolve as leaders. And so when you're authentic, you just take the pressure off and go, hey, I'm doing the best I can. When a pandemic comes, I don't know what this is going to mean, but I'm going to do everything I can. And I assure you, we'll come out the other side better than we're going in. That's all there is to it. People don't want certainty from you, or they don't want to feel certain, like, as leaders, we think we have to have all the answers. When you're authentic, you know you don't have the answers. They know you don't have the answers either, but you provide an environment of certainty. And the more clear you are about who you are, when you're certain about that, everything else falls in place.
So what gets in the way of being authentic?
Ego. Biggest thing we have in the space is ego, right? Oh, look at what I drive. Look at how much money I make. Look at how tall I am. Look how much my shoes cost. All those different things. That's cool. And don't get me wrong. I love wealth. I love making a lot of money. I love real estate. I love building companies. I love building millionaires. I love everything about that. But once you reach a certain level of financial success, if you will, you realize that it's much more than that. And we all have to have our experiences, but ego of trying to be something that it just gets in the way. And I want the accolade for that. I want the importance. I'm the founder and CEO. This business is because of me. This business is because of me from a standpoint of leadership, but it doesn't happen without my incredible team rowing the boat every single day.
Now, Kenny just mentioned ego. Now, I find that my own ego has gotten in the way of my own growth and success. And you probably have too, if you're really honest with yourself. One way to really look at how your ego is getting in the way is talk to someone else who is not emotionally attached to this and get them to reflect back to you what they're feeling and ask them questions about, do you feel like I'm driven by ego? Or, what are the ego elements that you're picking up from my story, my approach, my strategy, and what's going on in our world? Now, I say this because it's really hard to do it for yourself. Now, I do this as a coach. Some of the things that I'm doing with clients, I get to ask those questions, but I'm not asking you to hire me. I'm asking you to really just think about how your ego is getting in the way, be honest with yourself, reflect on that, and make some very different decisions if you realize it is getting in the way. And it is for most people. Back to Kenny. I'm curious, it's one thing to say that you should be authentic, but you've got to bring on people on the team that are also being authentic, because it's not just you, it's everyone being authentic with each other. Have you found something that works best to be able to do that?
Core values. When you get clear, it's kind of like when you think about identity, right? Identity in humanity in general really boils down to a set of values. So if I have identity as whatever it is, I've got values there. So when you get super clear as a leader around your core beliefs and what your core values are, and share that with the team. And when, we operate with integrity, we grow with purpose, we win together. And when we exceed expectations, those are our 4 core values. And so when you bring an onboarded team member and that's what it's all about, it quickly fleshes out. It's not for some people. As very quick growing companies, people like their comfort zones. They like to kind of, mediocrity. Ask anybody on my team, the number one thing that I despise is mediocrity. I would much rather completely suck at something than just be okay at it. And so it comes from that environment. And as you start scaling with some team around you, they'll do the work for you. They'll shake people out that don't really fit your culture, your values.
Now, Kenny just mentioned core values, and it's just such an important piece to growing your business. They have 4 core values. You may have 4, 5, 6, 7, hopefully not too many more than that. But if you are not living your values, you're missing an opportunity. There's many touch points that you must use inside of leading your values. A few of them just are hiring the right people and even writing job descriptions, onboarding. When you're onboarding them, giving them a really good understanding of what the values are, hopefully it sticks and it builds a strong foundation. You've got recognizing, rewarding, you've got leading, exiting people. All of these are chances to actually reinforce how you're organized around your core values, how you communicate them to others, how you share stories. Really is important to you to live your core values. Another way to say it is operationalizing them across all the different touch points of your business. Back to Kenny. Now, I've got to ask, because you're in a similar business to me, you just work with the blue collar trades. I work with a lot of fast growth companies. I believe that values are very important. I would bet that you're teaching the same concept to the people that you're working with as clients.
I mean, you and I both know, as well as all of our listeners right now, business is business is business. People are people are people. So there's only been a few good ideas in the course of history that just get reframed and regurgitated in different ways. And I have my way and you have your way and the marketplace has its way. So yes, it's, we're not in my clients, they're not plumbers, they're not electricians, they're in the people business. Your clients are in the people business. They just happen to have a widget, something that they sell. And I think when we remember that, when we get super clear that we're simply in the people development business and we happen to have some products that we market, then everything changes. But yeah, it's all the same, really.
One of my favorite things to do is to pull out of people interesting and unique ways at which they are living their core values. I'm curious, was there anything that stands out for you as something you feel like might be different than what your peers are doing?
I would say for me, Complete freedom. Like for me, freedom is one of my number one core values. I want freedom. It's why I became an entrepreneur at the age of 23, and I've never had a W-2 since, other than companies that I own. And so I love freedom. And part of my authenticity came several years back when I realized I had a drug and alcohol problem and I wasn't totally free, and going through recovery work and getting clear around that really brought another level of authenticity to my life. I'd been a professional speaker for 15 years. It's not that I lied about it or hid about anything. I was very functioning, high level, all those types of things, but getting clear, like, what does freedom mean to me? Well, I wasn't totally free. And when you really get clear about that, and then now some people go, well, that's him. He has a drug and alcohol problem. Some of you pick up your phone as soon as you wake up in the morning. That's an addiction. I don't believe we have an addiction in the business world around necessarily drugs or alcohol, smoking, whatever. Our number one addiction in humanity right now is our addiction to suffering. And as leaders, we give away our power all day, every day. You get up, there's a ding, you check your calendar, you check your email. Other people control you all day, every day, even though you're an entrepreneur, even though you're a founder, even though you're a CEO. So begin batching. Look at having your assistant do more things. Look at when you actually engage into the external world. Find a morning routine, an AM thing that, like, before I ever turn on any technology, I've already journaled, I've already meditated, I've already read, I've already set intention, I've already done breath work. I'm going to get clear on my energy before I allow the universe to come in and play my game. So I think that might be a little different than a lot of people.
Kenny, we were talking about being an authentic leader. What do you think we need to make sure that we cover today that we haven't already covered?
I think the gut or the voice in your head, the reality is, you know what to do. You know what you feel. When you have the question of, I wonder if that person's going to make it, you already know. When you wonder if, is this a right partnership for me to enter? You already know. The challenge is we don't honor that. And we're out of fear, out of anxiety, out of FOMO, out of whatever it is. And then we spend so much time cleaning up the mess, trying to justify it, trying to manipulate it, trying to what you already know, but you've got to create the space. You cannot have authenticity without space. And that's where I think we need to take a step back and create digital sunsets in the evening where we shut down technology and allow your mind to kind of just calm and have conversations with your spouses and your children without the TV blaring, without nonstop TikTok going or whatever. We got to get back to ourselves. And I think that's where authenticity comes from and is allowed to really reproduce and manifest. But as long as we're on other people's inputs, we're not going to be able to tap that very effectively.
Are you an Inc. 5000 CEO looking for a unique experience? My hope is that you want to take your business to the next level. You want to gather with other Inc. 5000 CEOs, which just isn't available in most of the peer groups that you're probably able to connect with. But when we get together, it's an intimate group of people that are growing their businesses. We're learning from each other about strategy, about execution, leadership, culture, and all things growth. Plus, we actually designed this to have deep conversations to get to the real issues so that you can really grow your business. And we do something fun. We take time to race Porsche 911s. You'll be paired with a professional driver. It'll be something that you can do that's very different than you've ever done before. Join us for this event. It's invite only, but find out more details at genehammett.com/events. I want to take this into the different direction with your personal leadership style. We've been talking about authentic. Is there anything else that you would kind of group with your own style that kind of makes you successful and makes your team effective?
I think the key is allowing or even creating, I don't want to say a hope of failure, but celebrating what the world, I don't believe in failure personally. I only believe in results, but allowing mistakes. A mistake is only a mistake. And so I encourage people to do a lot of things, which means you're going to do a lot of things wrong. You're going to do a lot of things where you make quote mistakes or whatever it is. That's the only way you're going to learn. And I think for me, being educated different than the average leader of blood, sweat, and tears and no formal education and learning and buying and selling businesses without really knowing what I was doing early on, I made all these mistakes, but they're not mistakes. You know, Keith Cunningham taught me, he wrote a book called The Road Less stupid. And he taught me the concept around dumb tax. And that's a strong word for me. I don't like the word dumb. So I shifted to education tax. And I encourage that we pay education tax at the Blue Collar Success Group. So try something, do something, make a mistake, and we'll pay some education tax. But now we get the value of it. We get the learning from it, and we get to move forward together. I think people are too afraid of doing the wrong thing, and that creates procrastination, that creates perfection, that creates all these things that block progress.
I want to wrap up today's conversation about being an authentic leader with talking about a mistake that you've learned from, probably something the hard way. You're a serial entrepreneur. You've had multiple businesses in this journey. What do you think our audience that's growing their business fast can learn from the mistakes that you've already overcome?
I'll tie back to what I said already is when you know, and don't pretend that you don't. Right now, let me ask you a question as a listener. What do you already know that you're pretending not to? There's something that just came up for you. If you give that a little bit of space, that will help you avoid a mistake. I've known not to go into this market. I've known don't take over that business. I've known don't make that acquisition. I've known don't make that person the CEO. And I've done it anyway. And then I spend the time, and then the ego gets involved and goes, well, maybe we can make it work. Maybe they'll change. Maybe the market will shift. No. You just got to learn. You got to cut your losses, so to speak, and move on. But so much of that can be avoided as leaders when we really tap in and go, what am I pretending that I don't know, but I already know? When you ask yourself that question, something comes up and it's there.
It's a brilliant question because, what came up for me is something I was thinking about yesterday. I was doing a little bit of a work session and just planning the week, really just looking back over the week and planning it out. And I didn't get as much done as I thought. And it realized to me it's something I knew that didn't admit to myself was I tried to do too many things.
There you go.
And I already know the value of focus.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that's a great question. Kenny, thank you so much for being here, sharing insights and wisdom around leadership and growth. We appreciate it.
Dean, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you.
Wow, Kenny really brought it today. We talked about being an authentic leader, what that really means and how you can do it and how you can leverage it to grow your business. My hope is that you will continue to be an evolving version of yourself, that you will continue to push and challenge the old way of thinking. And if you had any resistance to being authentic, that hopefully today will get you to think about that differently and act differently on top of it. When you think about your own growth, make sure you reach out to me and keep listening to the podcast. And if I can help you in any way, make sure you let me know that. You can send me an email, or you can just check out my website, free content there. But if you're looking for support, you're looking to do it faster, just go to genehammett.com and schedule your call. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, live with courage. We'll see you next time.